It is 6:30. We'll call this meeting to order at the Wallace Hill Fire Station. Here, Tom's here, Barb's here, Meg is absent. Barb's here, we're here. Pulled the list. I didn't see any public comment. Deborah, is that true? Okay. All right. I do want to alert everyone. I did put out a special notice that we will be having a mausoleum informational meeting on Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, open to the public. 6 p.m. Yep. At Town Hall, it is hosted in part by Ellenberg and Plattsburgh. Speaking with Jason Gazan, who's the Ellenberg supervisor, we felt that this was a more centralized location. So space was kind of a mixture in between as far as who had the larger space, but we decided to do it in the town of Plattsburgh. So 6 p.m. We anticipate the senator being in attendance, the assemblywoman in attendance, the deputy secretary of state. We are hopeful for representatives from the Division of Cemetery and several other people. So we'll see how it all shakes out and give some generalized information, etc. We'll see.
Was there anything put in the press?
I can tell you that.
It was on TV.
Yep, I did an interview to alert people this morning with WCAX. I did an interview with Dan Heath later on. Morning, afternoon, it's all melting together.
So I might get that in tomorrow?
Yep, Dan's pushing to put it out in tomorrow's newspaper. And again, we put out special notice, Ellenberg, so on and so forth. In large part, you know, we're trying to get some information from the Division of Cemeteries, etc., on record to be shared, and we'll take it forward. I mean, there'll be many more steps, and I just want to thank Ricky. This morning, he understands that much of this burden, unfortunately, is going to rest on his shoulders as the town clerk in the coming weeks, months, and years. Art, Ricky, Patrick, and I went down to the mausoleum this morning and spent, about 45 minutes, an hour down there? Yeah. And I knew you had to get there a little bit later, but thank you for getting down there. We just, again, reviewed the facility to kind of examine the state that it's in, and it really is in quite disrepair. It's
It's a shame.
It is. It's heartbreaking. I mean, it really is to be in there and to know that it's supposed to be a place where folks can go and reminisce on their loved ones and such. I will say that the facility, since it's been in the hands of the receiver, has seen some changes. You know, a little bit cleaner, a little bit tightened up. I mean, both Ricky and I remarked that it's certainly not perfect and it's still far from repair. But
is it still unlocked?
It is. It is.
How many years did it take? They still didn't finish the wall.
Yeah. So
come on, it was open back in 70.
Yeah. So again, you know, Jason, the supervisor from Ellenberg, and I have talked, and we should come up with a different phrase, but for lack of a better phrase, very cautiously optimistic the Division of Cemeteries will recognize that they really need to step up and make the towns whole, and to provide adequate funding to get the facilities up to the level that they really should have been a number of years ago. I mean, it's very discouraging.
Could I ask a question about cemeteries? Where does the town stand? And we may never have talked about it, and we might not have a consensus about it, on cemeteries. I understand that there's a lot of cemeteries in the town already, which the town takes care of. And this is just yet another one, so to speak. What about new cemeteries? What does the town think about that?
I certainly can say that I have not captured my complete feelings on the whole, you know, gamut of things from, you know, the cemeteries that we have. I can tell you that I strongly feel that the state of New York is using creative interpretation of the current cemetery status for the mausoleums, and I think that's an important thing to note.
But it seems that if you allow, let's say, a church cemetery to, a church to have a cemetery. And then the church is no longer a church some years down the road, then it kind of falls on the townspeople to have to maintain that cemetery.
It does. From my limited ability to capture it in this moment is the town would take over the cemetery.
Yes.
It would have limited responsibilities, however, to mow it approximately 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And one individual shared with me, I think it was Connie, our receiver, just in casual conversation, saying that the town doesn't even have the responsibility to the headstones, though. It's literally to provide basic access to the facility, so.
I think actually with the headstones, we went through it in Ellenberg, to move a headstone, if you move a headstone, you don't have permission from the family or members, you've got quite a problem on your hands.
So I could see that, it may be that when somebody wants to build a cemetery, it's a real hard thing to figure out, what the law says and what the future could be and all that.
I think this
This really put it front and
subject
center.
has given everybody a great amount of pause to reflect on it. And I've been having lots of conversations with the senator and the assemblywoman that I anticipate that they will be trying to change the law for interpretation of mausoleums in the future as well, and possibly even give consideration of moratoriums on mausoleums in the state of New York. So,
They, apparently, they had mausoleums back in the 30s,
I wouldn't be surprised.
and they had the same problem. And then they turn around
And
and they, to go through this again. And there's absolutely no question that, they were remiss in their duties of oversight.
You mean the owner of the mausoleums?
Well, not just the owners of the
Or just the
mausoleum,
building and all of it from the
but
beginning?
the Department of State and the
Division of Cemetery.
Division of Cemeteries. They had oversight responsibilities.
Sure.
Because they were to make sure that this didn't happen a second time.
Oh, after the 30s.
Yeah, and it did.
But the real problem is it's a flawed concept, and that if I said I'm going to care for something for eternity,
Well, indeed.
that's a long time.
This is a problem down at Riverside where people buy lots and they pay for perpetual care, X amount of dollars. And of course, down the road, if people stop buying plots, you're not getting any more income.
That's
And
right.
so there's no money to pay for the
No.
perpetual
It's a-
care.
No.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
It is.
And as soon as you stop selling,
There you go.
you're dead. It's
That's right.
poor choice of words.
But-
You don't have the
Oh, that's
revenue,
right.
you don't have the revenue coming
but
in.
let me edit that statement, Marty, because I feel very, very passionate about this. So when we receive this mausoleum, there will be a number of crypts that have not been sold,
Okay.
okay? And one of my biggest concerns is that the state of New York, in their infinite wisdom, will change the rules on us again somewhere down the road, that I do not think it is in our best interest to sell those vacant crypts, because they have been so irresponsible in their management of the process along the way. So if we are able to secure perpetual funds and to secure funds to get these facilities up to standards, we need to provide the entombments for the individuals that have contracts and such. But even if we have one extra crypt, I don't want Ricky to be in the business of having to sell crypts. I don't think the town should be in the business of selling crypts, because
We're not operating.
You're not crypt operators.
right, but I want to make sure that people understand that general statement, because, as a private organization, that's where they drew their perpetual care funds from, but they obviously were not able to manage it appropriately, that I don't even want to begin to get in the business
Crypt sales.
of crypt sales, because it's,
But in the
There was-
meantime, if I own a crypt, can I still sell it?
Sure.
Oh,
Well,
They
not that I do.
Is that for sure?
and again, that's where,
Well,
That's
That's-
property, this is a problem.
and that's,
One of my questions that I brought forward.
and that's where I don't want the board to make a statement because
Sure.
we haven't been given direction by the state. I think that there'll be a number of decisions that the state will hand to us, whether we like them or not, and we'll see how it goes. So I encourage you folks to inform the public, encourage them to come to the meeting on Wednesday. Not all of the answers will be answered then. There will still be a period of time that we'll be working with Connie to get things lined up, but sweeping statements will only further
But
muddy
I
the
think
situation.
even there at the mausoleum, they have crypts for sale. People
do?
own them and I want to sell it.
Their property, they own the
Their
property.
property.
Right,
That's
but
correct.
I can tell you that the black and yellow or orange or red signs, the for sale signs that people can buy at like Walmart,
Yeah.
okay? Connie issued an ordinance of sorts, maybe ordinance isn't the right word, but to take those down.
Mhm.
um,
I haven't seen those.
Because people were quite upset that it looked like a flea
Flea
market.
market.
So there may be a process that has to be then facilitated by the town, who knows, I don't know what that
Oh, what a
answer is.
mess.
So,
Yeah.
all right, moving forward, I know that I talked to you folks, is there any update in general on the sick bank?
Yeah, sure, Michael, we can, Personnel Committee has met, and the process of redrafting that, but an interruption took place last week, I got the flu, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to table that until
Yeah, that's,
our next session. At that point in time, we'll
okay,
have some information available.
okay. Keep that moving forward. There is a recommendation from the tech committee for equipment, letter coming from Trevor and Brian. It is for overhead projectors. In large part, this recommendation request is coming forward from the tech committee because there has been a lot of interest in securing overhead projectors for when people come in to do presentations, etc. Just recently, Nova Bus used the facility, and people continue to remark, "Oh, you don't have the technology per se in the room already." So the idea is to purchase said technology, have it installed in the overhead projectors. Art could do it. It's like this right here, actually in the room, and Art could do it. And then when we have outside groups, we could charge a nominal fee for the room rental, like we're doing for May Courier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Let me make a point though. You see that overhead projector?
Yep.
That overhead projector is set up, if I'm not mistaken, to project on that screen.
Yeah.
You see how these tables are set up?
Yep, that's why there would be we have there would be two projectors in the town of Plattsburgh. There would be one facing the white screen of sorts up near our tables for that area, and then one would be set in the back of the room. And we can certainly see if we can get it on a swivel to move elsewhere in the room. But that would be the general anchored location of these spaces.
Those two smart
Yeah.
boards that they're
Yeah. So,
Makes sense.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
so more to consider on that.
Now, this,
So we're gonna get those right after we get the,
Money from the mausoleum.
no, right after we figure out how to get rid of the noise in the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Get
the
rid of
ticking?
the-
Well, I'm just happy to know that it's not Ted's
Yeah,
machinery.
it's-
It seems to be aging stuff, and Ricky, I don't know if you've taken a look at it at a time in which,
I played with it back and forth, and I don't know, it was just, I thought it was maybe one of the microphones or something, or whatever, but no matter which way you turn the volume up or down, or cut the different speakers off, and stuff, it still doesn't. So it's like feedback coming from something.
in the past, who's serviced?
It was Alpha Stereo.
Might be worthwhile to call them and see if they can come and do a,
Just check it out,
Service call.
see if they can figure out, tell us what the
Yeah,
problem.
because sometimes, and during the planning department, or the codes and zoning when they use it, it's not as prevalent as it is ours. I mean, it goes, it's off and on, so. I don't know.
Do you think we're cursed or something, if it weren't for everybody else, or?
Somebody's coming back to haunt us up there. a long
That
time.
goes to tap dances in the middle of the.
How old would you say that equipment is, Rick?
3 years now.
Oh, that's it?
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah, because
really
we got the
recent.
new,
It's ridiculous.
Shouldn't be doing that.
digital one.
Mm-hmm.
When we got that new equipment and stuff, and he put all of the digital microphones, so you have the codes and zoning and planning has a tack-on mic, but with a little pocket thing
Oh,
you
the
can
remote,
wear and walk around.
Mhm.
You know, if you're doing something to show, whatever, so you don't have to be stationary.
And did we purchase it through Alpha
Yep,
too?
yep.
I think it'd be very worthwhile to call them and to do a check-in.
So the tech committee went through,
I'll speak to Art about it too, and have Art take a look.
Sure.
And Joe
Art,
at Alpha.
yeah. Well, and
The little guy.
the guy, I forgot the guy's name from Alpha Stereo, Armin.
Armin
Yeah,
something or
The guy
other.
that owns it, but the other guy is technician that came and set it up.
Mhm.
Yes, Tom?
Because it is annoying onto it, it's just, you know,
Well, and it seems to be somewhat inconsistent.
right.
Um,
And that's what I said, no matter which way you turn the volume or the knobs or something.
Tom?
the technology committee, they did a thorough review of everything in the building in terms of that, or just in this one particular room? I mean, were they looking at all the equipment that we had?
They were doing it for that specific type of equipment per request and interest. I mean, people often request many different things that we can't provide, but that seemed to be clawing back at getting us anywhere near the 21st century as far as a service that we could provide.
Are we in the 20th yet?
Maybe, if we get this. I mean, I think there's a lot of positive things to come of that. It makes that room a little bit more,
Usable.
thank you, yeah. You know, for trainings, for different groups to come in. Also, if we're gonna charge a nominal fee, to have some groups come in, it's nice to be able to say that that service is there, et cetera.
Is this the different prices, different things, and you add them up, or is there a total?
The whole breakdown is there. I can review it individually with you after if you want.
Okay.
Moving forward for the summer help for highway, you'll see that Jim Woods has provided a letter to me and the board requesting a resolution to hire an on-call summer employee with the help of paving. He'd like to hire Fred Levine again to the position, choosing him for having over 30 years of experience with the department and very knowledgeable on aspects of paving. The hourly pay would be $20.92 per contract. This expense should be taken out of the highway department's budget, and he's already had some conversations with Pat as far as being able to cover that.
You don't have any problem with his level of experience here?
I was hoping for 31.
Is he,
Yeah, really?
didn't he do plowing on call?
Yes.
Is there
He's a
any,
former employee, correct?
is there any
He's a highway.
problem?
She's highway
in
superintendent.
terms
I
of
knew I
full-time,
recognized the
or
name there.
What'd you say?
is there any problem in terms of full-time, or?
It shouldn't be, from my understanding. You know, Jim tends to try to not have people on the payroll just to have them on the payroll. He also tries to, I think building the truck is a good example. He's been learning a lot, but he's really trying to be very creative in saving money for the town. This is, another example of him, I think, trying to utilize resources and using knowledgeable people, not just having somebody that has no experience.
Yeah.
You have to train them, have to spend a lot of money, wondering if they're gonna be able to do it or not. It should also be noted that the highway department does go to summer hours, so they try to make the most of the daylight hours, the longer days doing black topping, so that when you're out there, that you don't kind of shut the equipment down, let it cool, and then have to, recharge it up. So they do a 4-day. So this all combined, I certainly am supportive of it, and we'll put together a resolution for that.
The only recommendation I had, Michael, was to kind of put a period in there. I realize it's summer, but from what to what, if that's acceptable. When's it start, when's it end? Just a period, that's all.
And we'll make sure to include that in the resolution. I won't have him go back or redraft his letter.
No, just amended the recommendation
Yeah.
for the resolution.
Jim has also provided us the 2016 road striping process. He did receive a letter from Al Rasco in the Clinton County Highway Department. Shared Services is planning on doing road striping for the town. And in Clinton County, the cost of the materials, as you can see, are listed. Again, he works very closely with the county to develop the best approach to moving forward. I think this is another good example. Anybody from the highway department want to comment on either one of these items? Okay. We do have a proclamation. It was for JCEO. I will apologize, trying to get some stuff ready for the public informational hearing or meeting on Wednesday. I was doing a lot of stuff with mausoleum stuff, so I know that there were some edits and issues. Given that Barb has made note of them, I would still consider a vote with edits for consideration. Is there a motion to accept the proclamation of recognition? But I'll have Ricky read this one, if you don't mind.
Yeah, but.
Make more in the car,
You
verbal.
want to read this copy, not that one.
Yeah, this one. This one has the,
Your edits.
You wanted my glasses?
No, that's all right, I think I can wing it. Whereas President Lyndon Johnson declared a war on poverty in a State of the Union address on January 8, 1964, the Sergeant Shriver took to the task of developing United States Public Law 88-452, Economic Opportunity Act of 1964, which subsequently passed on July 23, 1964. Whereas the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity was created in 1966 as a Clinton County official anti-poverty agency, 2 years after signing the historic Economic Opportunity Act of 1964. And whereas today, as one of the 58 community action agencies in New York State, JCO continues to implement the philosophy of self-helping through practical, timely, and initiative programs and services that emphasize and develop problem-solving skills for the people. Whereas JCO is a private, non-profit human service agency that serves the residents of Clinton County and Franklin County through its main administrative offices, as well as 11 community outreach centers and 10 Head Start centers. The agency is governed by a 24-member board of directors consisting of 8 members of each private, public, and consumer sector of the local community. Programs currently administered include Head Start, daycare, food pantry, food cooperative, weatherization, heat, emergency homeless, community outreach, and senior outreach. Whereas JCO for 50 years has served as a significant agent in fighting poverty in the Clinton County and greater Plattsburgh region. Be it resolved that Michael S. Cashman of the town of Plattsburgh, supervisor, and all members of the town board do hereby commend that JCO, an economic opportunity, advantage, and impact on our community. We do hereby call upon all citizens of the town of Plattsburgh thereof to render support for this organization and make themselves aware of the JCO mission.
first?
So,
Mannix, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert? Any discussion? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Michael Casson,
Yes.
Mark Mannix,
yes,
Barb Hebert,
Yes.
Passes.
Did you put a number on that?
It should be 101. All right. I do want to make people aware that the junkyard license renewal for 55 Hammond Lane is going to be pulled for now. As promised, material is still not adequate, so rather than, it could, between now and next week.
right?
Um,
Well,
but-
we've had several conversations with the family and stuff.
Okay.
and,
Thanks, Rick.
you know, They're well aware of what's going on.
To be in compliance, correct? Okay.
Yep,
What
so,
we can do?
yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
Given that it is about 6:56 and we need to get to Cumberland Head, we will break here and head on over.